Okay, I'm making a 50-50 celeriac and potato mash. To be honest, there is no point making this in a small quantity, but I know that this mash will be used up during the week. I'm going to show you the chefy way of doing it. If you're cooking this on a Tuesday night where you're in a hurry, by all means, stick it all in one pan, cook it till it's soft and mash it. But I thought I would share some of the tips and tricks that takes it to another level. So they are both root vegetables. So I'm cooking them in separate pans because the celeriac takes on a lot more water and has a lot more moisture. So I'm cooking them separately in cold salted water, bringing to the boil. The potatoes will probably take about 15 to 17 minutes. The celeriac will take probably about 17 to 22 minutes. That sounds very specific, doesn't it? So once they come to the boil, I will set timers for both of them to be nice and soft. As I said, if you do this during the week, stick it all in one pan and blitz it. But if you're having a dinner party, the other nice thing with this is that you can get this done ahead of time, and then you can reheat it all later. So you can do it all calmly in the morning or the day before. It reheats really well. If you want to make this particularly luxurious, I've got 100 ml of cream. You could use milk. I've got 1 garlic clove, which I'm just going to bash, and I've got a bay leaf that I'm just going to crush in my hand, and I'm going to gently warm that milk. Keep an eye on it, don't let it burn or boil over. You just want to warm it, turn the heat off and let it infuse. It looks like my celeriac is actually going to be cooked faster than my potato. The celeriac's taken about 14 minutes, the potato still needs a couple of minutes, so I'm going to drain off the celeriac. I'm returning it to the pan, and I am putting a really low heat underneath it for a couple of minutes because you want to dry it out because you don't want a sloppy mash. We'll do the same with the potato. Potatoes are also done, so I'm going to drain these off. And I'm going to do the same thing on a very low heat for a couple of minutes. The celeriac has had a couple of minutes, so just while I'm waiting, I'm actually just going to put a tea towel over because that also helps absorb some of the moisture. This will just stay on for a couple of minutes. I realise I didn't tell you about quantities. I peeled celeriac and weighed it, and it was just over 500 grams, so I've done 500 grams of potatoes as well, so it's even Stevens. I'm going to put the tea towel over the potatoes, and while they're in the separate pans, I am also going to mash them separately because with the celeriac, I do want that as a rougher mash. I don't want it as smooth as the potato. It will just give a delicious taste. So nothing added at this stage. I'm using this ricer attachment to my Kenwood. I absolutely love it. I don't have a manual ricer, and this is more gentle on what you're mashing than an old-fashioned masher, but if that's what you've got, that will do. Set that aside. Now it's the turn of the potato, which I want smoother. This is my bigger pan, so I'm going to tip the potato in, and now we're going to start adding the butter and seasoning. You always start with the butter because the butter coats the starch. So I've got, and it's going in cold, I've got about 75 grams of butter. Just break it in. I'm going to start with a little bit of salt. We can always add more salt. I've said it before, I love white pepper in mash. It just gives, there's a tiny bit more heat in white pepper. So you want to coat everything in that butter as it melts. This is very luxurious. Oh. I just need an excuse to taste it. I'm just going to taste it for some salt. That's fine for me. I can always add more later when I reheat it. So the next thing to go in, and I may not need all of the cream that I warmed up with the garlic and bay, so I'm just going to add a little bit and stir that through. Taste again. So that little bit of cream that I've got left, I'm actually going to put that to one side and I will keep that for when I go to reheat it. I am going to add about half a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Hang on. Taste again. Oh. I can't tell you how good that is. Now, if you're feeling brave, you can add the merest whisper of nutmeg, and I mean tiny. Tiny, tiny. That's 2 really tiny pinches. I'm going to set that to one side until later when I cook the dish that this is going to go with.